I think we are online. Got it? Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Worldscope Mundane Astrology panel discussion. Wow, I see everyone here. I'm so excited. Hello, Luisa. Hello, Grace.
Hello.
Hi, Leanne. Hi, Anna. Hi, Fernando. And hi, Maria. Oh my God, we got full house today. So, as you can guess, we are very busy. So you have to prepare your snack, wine, and anything, coffee or any drink, because maybe we're going to last for 3 hours. No, we're not. We're crazy. I'm just a little bit crazy, but and also now I learned a little bit trick that I always have to do the advertising before we start the discussion, because when I say the advertising by the end of the discussion, everyone already switched the channel to watch like sponge cake or something else. Anyway, so I have 3 advertising going to run. I'm so generous, not advertising for our own school. But I will put this forward first is our online conference. Yes, from the 1st to 3rd of December. And we have our very first AOA online conference. And I mean, the speaker are here. You can see we got Anna, we got Maria, we got Luisa, and we got Leanne, and we got Fernando. And well, Grace will help us. So Grace will be there too. Okay. So we are all bring up interesting topic from the health, from the family, and from the outer planet transit. And I think Maria will talk about draconic chart, and that would be, so cool. So at this moment, we still have the space. So please contact us or go to aoauk.co, and you can find the link for the register. This is the first thing, is our first online conference. Well, the second thing, I will put it in a second, because that would be the next weekend. There is a very interesting conference. It's the first, the World Astrology Summit about the mundane astrology. And I think Maria would be speak about for the SDA's World Astrology Summit, and I will be there too. I will talk about regional, about the China and the East Asia area. Maria, what are you going to talk about in the?
I'm going to be looking at the presidential elections in my country, in Argentina, from the perspective of William Lilly. So it's completely traditional mundane. Yeah.
That is so cool. That would be so cool. And next time, maybe we should use this to practice on the United States presidential election discussion.
Oh, yeah. I've been working a lot together with Sue Ward, so I'm happy. Okay. I'm happy with that.
Definitely going to bring that on. And I really looking forward more and more our colleagues join this conference, because this is a very interesting event, and the mundane astrologer all around the world coming together. We're going to recommend everyone go to that conference too. Okay, so if you haven't registered yet, please go to the sta.co/conference, and then register from there. You can either say Maria sent you or Rod sent you. I know Wade forced us to say that, and I tell Wade, say, you know what? I'm so embarrassed to say that. He said, just say it. Okay, just say it. The third one, well, is the what happened in England in the from 13th to 15th October. We have our Astrological Association 2023 conference, online or at place. And at this moment, we still have some place. And if you couldn't come to is it near Birmingham, right, Leanne? Is it near Birmingham?
Yeah, it's above Birmingham, a bit above Birmingham. Yeah.
So they say it's a nice place, but if you can come to the place, you can do it online. Join us online, because I think there will be lots of speakers there, and it's very interesting. Anyone will speak there? No. Leanne and Maria. Sorry. So Leanne, what's your topic?
I'm going to be speaking about the Pluto-Haumea square that we have now and probably for the next few years.
Yeah, yes. Hot topic.
About that.
How about Maria?
I'll be presenting my research of the last 20 years on draconic astrology and how to discern charts of twins using draconic astrology.
Lovely. So cool. So cool. And I will be there too. And I'm going to talk about fixed stars. I'm going to talk about fixed stars and especially some new way to discuss and to give interpretation. So this is advertising. Sorry about that. I know we are here to talk about the mundane astrology. Okay, so we all know these months what already happened with such huge disaster. And then, I mean, does mundane astrologer know that's going to happen? I'm not going to bragging, but I think we have the admin say, more or less, we know what type of event we can expecting, especially because I have to say, because Fernando just remind me when we talk about the Sedna, and we mentioned something like that. When we start talking about that, you wouldn't understand what we're talking about. So that was like first things, a lot of rain and the water problem, huge rain and the water problem in all around the world. It's in Hong Kong. They have the huge the water problem, the flooding problem for 500 years, for the first time in last 500 years in Hong Kong. And then I know in Turkey, Greece, even Madrid have the flooding problem. And Europe, I think the whole Europe has a little bit problem like that. And then we all heard about it in Libya. We all heard about what happened in Libya. Is devastating because 10,000 people, 10,000 lives. That is really sad. And then, I mean, astrology can say something, but it's all about people and the government. We should work together. But I think at least we can talk about it. We can discuss about it. So this will be our today's topic. We will start with the Libya situation, and then we will talk about, I think, Luisa suggests some climate change issue, political climate change issue. That would be very interesting to look. And then I think Anna prepared some interesting historical review of the military coup in Chile. So, and then we will finally, if we still have time, I think we have to just quick exam about the Libra in Greece chart. So let's pick up. Well, how about Leanne? Do you want to start talking about the Libya situations?
Yeah, can I actually show a chart, Rod?
Yes. Let me make you co-host.
Brilliant. I haven't done much on this. I was just looking earlier, so there's nothing in depth.
Don't worry.
Here.
Don't worry. Yeah.
But it's I just found this really, really interesting, right? Okay, share. Here we go. Let me just do my slideshow.
Here we are. Yes.
Come on, hurry up. Slideshow. My computer's gone so slow these past couple of days.
Oh, we blame Mercury stationary. How about that?
Yeah, totally. Okay, why is that? Oh, here we go. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I used that Libya Republic chart from 1969, and I believe there's another one earlier, but this is the one I'm most familiar with. So I just started with this. And I just put it with today's new moon for some reason. I don't know the exact time of the event. You might have that, Rod, to look at, or someone else might. But I just thought I'd put it with the new moon because that's where we are now. And there's more and more news being revealed, isn't there, as we learn more about it, and the scale of the devastation. It's just growing and growing. And I don't think for a long time we'll know how many people have actually died in this. It is tragic. And, according to all the reports, it could have been avoided. There were sort of cracks in leaks reported in the dams. And then, of course, Mother Nature comes along and overwhelms the dams that just can't cope. It's like a lot of countries at the minute, the infrastructure cannot cope with the extreme weather that so many of us are experiencing. So, I think this new moon's been incredibly interesting anyway on many levels, with Mercury stationing. And it's so mercurial, isn't it? It's ruled by Mercury stationing. And the new moon happens on the degree that Mercury retrograded back in August. It's just so synchronized, isn't it? But anyway, we have the Libya chart in the middle there. And we just have to look at that first house, don't we? Come on, there we go. So the new moon falls right on that Libya south node and very, very close to Pluto. So it's just, everything that wasn't strong enough, all the tiny cracks that are there ready have just, exploded with this sort of new moon, or in the days beforehand. And then we have Mercury rising. That stationary Mercury sat right on the Libya ascendant. And of course, this chart's ruled by Mercury. And it's just so sad, and there's just so much loss, and it's just, dominating the news in many ways. But I don't want to get too much into dwarf planets tonight, especially, but we can see we've got Haumea there with Mercury sat right on top of that. And we so often see Haumea in charts of natural disasters. It was discovered around the time of the tsunami in Indonesia back in 2004. Haumea is really prominent in the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in the Japanese chart. So, Haumea's Mother Nature, but it's about the power of Mother Nature. It's creative and it's destructive, but it's when it's combined with man-made creation and destruction, that's what's happened here. It's Mother Nature, and then the man-made dams, which just haven't been cared for or taken care of. The little details, those little Virgo details, just have not been taken care of, and the tiny little cracks just and of course, we've got Saturn there. That's structure. I always think of Saturn representing dams, that great big wall, So I just thought that trine was fascinating. And then I just looked here, and Pluto is right on the natal Ceres. This is just grief. This is absolute grief. But it's also a violation from the people in authority. This could have been avoided, and it's, in a sense, it's manslaughter in many ways. So I just looked, and of course Pluto and Capricorn, it's unearthing anything that's rotten, any structures that just can't stand up to the test of time. And Ceres here really is grief personified. It's collective grief, but a massive violation to the people. This should not have happened. Okay, really should not have happened. So that really jumped out at me. And then of course we've got a Ceres-Pluto square at the minute anyway, tied in with that nodal axis that Pluto's forming a T-square with. And again, that's just magnifying just all that that grief and loss, and something that shouldn't have happened. It's incredibly sad. It really is. So I just wondered, I'll finish up here, but I just wondered, when Saturn goes direct, and it's going to go over that descendant, isn't it? And then it's going to oppose that Sun, which is the leadership. I do wonder if there may be some accountability then, or questions raised, and sort of about this being avoided. Accountability, perhaps. I don't know what anyone else thinks.
Well, I think with two governments, the way they have it, accountability is going to be zero.
Mm-hmm.
they have two governments. So, I don't think you can count on that.
No.
I think you can count of more repression, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Perhaps.
That is my feeling. Wherever it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you'll have the same on this thing that I can't present, but Rod can present for me. You'll see similar themes, with Sarah's included.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Before we jump to the climate things, I want to share some, about the eclipse chart and ingress chart, the Aries ingress chart and the Cancer ingress chart for the area. Should we have a quick look? Because so I will. Okay. Yeah. Here, I'm just a quick showing the first. This is the Aries ingress chart. To be honest, because we also remember. Why I have to say? Okay. Yeah. Could you see the chart now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We know just before this tragedy happened, another huge earthquake hit Morocco. They are nearby country, and so the regional theme was kind of just make us wonder. If we check the Aries ingress chart or Cancer ingress chart or even the eclipse chart, could we see something? And that is kind of because when last week I already did a very quick video about what happened in Morocco and examine all the ingress chart and eclipse chart, and very clearly we can see those signs. So that first, this is the Aries ingress chart in the Tivoli. So we have a Saturn right on the IC. We have the Saturn right on the IC. Well, there is no huge obviously aspect with the Saturn, but we still have a Jupiter semi-square with Saturn, but Mars is trine. Maybe we just say it's a release energy. I don't know, but it's kind of, it's not a easy sign when you have a Saturn on the angle, and that is, pretty stunning, pretty kind of a shocking sign, to be honest. And then we know that on the day of the Aries ingress chart, when the Sun and the Moon conjunct Aries, that was like also very right few hours after. That is the new moon on the Aries ingress chart, and that was pretty scary too, because it's right next to Neptune. Neptune was next to it, so we know that is a sign of the water related event. Another thing is, well, this is not happened in Morocco, but it's another thing. But in the Cancer ingress chart of Libya, you got Uranus right on the descendant.
Wow.
And the Mars is pretty tight on the MC, that really, you just like up. And then Saturn ruled the IC in the Pisces. We know all these things are related to water with that Pisces Saturn. We know it no matter about about the failing or the water problem or blockage. These are all pretty stunning. That with that Uranus and Mars on the angle, it's not an easy sign. And quick review about eclipse chart. You got Mars in Cancer and the root of the 8th house. Maria, look, you want to say something, please? I know it's the traditional view.
I was just impressed because when Leanne showed the chart, I thought the health system in this country isn't working because it was ruled by a retrograde planet. I think it was Saturn in Leanne's chart. Okay. And then you showed the Aries ingress, and I could see all those planets in the 5th and the 6th. So I thought again, children and young people are going to suffer because of a very not very strong health system in the country. And now you're showing this later chart, and we can see how the 6th, the cusp of the 6th, is right on ascendant of the country.
Oh, yes.
The ascendant of the country, I think, was at 6 degrees, right?
Yes.
So I was just impressed by that,
Okay.
how the health
Wow.
system comes up all the time. That's a huge problem with this country, obviously.
That's
Yeah.
that's one thing I forgot to say as well, with all that Virgo being triggered in the first house in that Libya chart. It's the mess that they have to clean up. It's just devastation. It's just such a mess. But it's the disease that's going to come as well, and the health issues. So thank you, Maria, because I forgot to say about the health issues.
Yeah, you use the 1969 chart, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And Mercury stationed right on the cusp of the sixth house in the eclipse. So I was impressed by that, by the health system issue.
Yeah.
Is this we talking about?
Yeah.
Maurice? Yeah, Virgo.
Yeah.
Virgo rising. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is Saturn. Look at this Saturn. That is pretty scary. Yeah. Yeah. And yes. Yes, Fernando?
Yeah, that's good, because I think we talk. Excuse me. We talk about this moon eclipse in Scorpio was the same one as the South Asian tsunami.
Okay.
We talked about that.
Yeah,
and
that's why.
we mentioned that Sedna ingress in Gemini, which is like airborne dangers, is also brings the water, because when Sedna when there was a tsunami, the moon was in the Scorpio, and eclipse in Scorpio, and also affected thousands of children. So I was concerned about something. Actually, I think we are going to see a lot of air and water problems. Like I was mentioned, the first time in history you have a tornado in South Brazil we never had before, and our house roofs are not planned to wind problems, right? It's not. So it's air and water are going to be for a while. And we can see like Sedna ingress in Gemini almost hits the Libya's moon also. And we are going to hear about this situation country when Uranus is in Gemini 2026 and conjoins Sedna and the moon in Gemini. We're going to see that again. And probably in December also, because I've noticed, I think it was last month we talked about that problem with Poland and Belarus, and both of them has the sun in Virgo, and now Libya has sun in Virgo. So Virgo has been this sensitive for at least, I don't know about people, but country, and perhaps due to also Saturn and Neptune and Pisces pressing Virgo, but also if we say Sedna in beginning of, so maybe when we have the sun or something in Sagittarius, we're going to have a new square, so maybe new developments we will see this year. Maybe what we're talking about, like the Saturn is going into, as you say, into the 7th house. So maybe some kind of pressure for foreign countries to whichever we're talking about, government accountability or health or something, because Brazil has also sun in Virgo. So I will be watching. I will be looking at the Sun Virgo countries to see what else we can get.
Sure. Okay. When we're talking about the holding, sorry, Anna.
Yes, just to mention that the next year Neptune will be in the last degree of Pisces, which was the degree when Uranus was in 29 of Pisces when the tsunami occurred in 2011. So I think that the pressure of Neptune will be bigger because it's in the last degree ready to make their changes, their movements in their way. So I think that this will be unfortunately common to talk about these uncertainties that Neptune will bring us.
Okay, yeah. So yes, because Luisa suggests talking about that one interesting topic about in Europe, some young people suing the European government about their trying to hold them accountable about they are doing nothing for the climate change. So
let me put that in context.
Sure.
So that the 6 kids, and you can show them the kids, the 6 kids in 2016 were badly impacted by the fires in Portugal. And these are the 6 kids, you know? So they got help from an organization in Ireland to give them some support, legal. And they chose to file a court case in the European Court of Human Rights on September 2nd, 2020. I don't know the time. You can show the other chart. Yeah, I don't know the time, but I put it for 10 o'clock in the morning because, for example, in the United States, 10 o'clock is the time we use for court cases. And I don't know if they have an astrologer working with them, but it's all cardinal. Ceres is out of bounds. It's a full moon, and you have 4 planets in rulership. And you have our friend, that conjunction in Capricorn, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn on the IC. So this is when it was filed. The governments didn't pay any attention. Oh, this is what the kids do. But then there was a surprise. Show the next chart. The court decided to fast track this suit. And it's very rare that the European court decides to fast track. So it's like, wow, what's happening here? So against all odds, now we have another full moon and Ceres prominent. So
I'm sorry, it's an eclipse as well.
Yeah. So now, why did I bring this today? Because in Portugal, it has a lot of press. But then yesterday, there was a big article at The Guardian in England. So now it's the new moon. The article came on the new moon in Virgo. Okay? So the new moon in Virgo, sort of what makes people think about these things? What is it? So the new moon has a lovely trine to Pluto and Uranus. So let's again for Strasbourg, you have Ceres on the last degree of Libra on the IC. So it's promising. It's promising. So then if you look at the ingress chart for Strasbourg, everything is, I mean, as all of them, you know. You have Mars on the ascendant. And then it's the same for all the ingress charts. The moon is out of bounds. And there is a lovely thing about this ingress chart is the Sun, Venus, mutual reception. So this is the Libra ingress. And why is it important? It's because on the 27th, and that is the last chart, the kids get their first hearing. The kids that are totally dismissed by all the countries, including Greece, that has horrible fires. They just say, oh, yeah, we do what we can. And now they're having their first hearing And this time, another chart, Rod, and not this time the time is correct because it is on their website that they are having this hearing. And bum, Mars is again on the ascendant. Bum.
Oh.
You know, Mars is again on the ascendant, and Pluto is on the IC.
I see, yeah.
Can we expect something to change with this?
Yeah, very promising. Very promising because I think with that Mars in Libra, well, although is Mars is in the detriment, but it is about a fight for justice and hold some people in the accountability. And that Pluto is like we need to dig those roots out, those
And of course, Pluto is still square to the nodes. We've talked about that often, definitely. So it's still square to the nodes. But I thought it was interesting since we're talking just after the Libya disaster, which has to do with climate, because if they didn't have so much rain, and now these kids are trying to actually put the government, put Saturn in an accountability position.
Maria, sorry,
Maria.
Fernando. Maria has something to say first. And now,
yes, that there's an aphorism in the tradition that says that in this sort of chart, when there's two sort of enemies, when the ruler of the seventh is in the first, it means that it was conquered. So in this case, these kids have conquered their opponent because the ruler of the seventh is in the first. It's like it fell prisoner of them. So that's good for the kids.
No, it's excellent. It's excellent. And the whole thing, I mean, I know that in other countries it didn't have the press that it has here. But then when I saw it in The Guardian, a major British newspaper, exactly on the new moon, where everything environmental is on the new moon Virgo, where we are more in tune with the environment. I thought this was worth mentioning to you guys, so you can follow.
Thank you, Luisa. This is so big. To be honest, if we only look one event after another, or just hold it like an individual tragedy and say, "Oh, I'm really sorry. Pray for Libya, pray for Morocco," and let's forget about it. This is not what we need to do, because too many things like the all unusual event happening now. I think maybe it's too late to take action, but we still have to do something. I mean, and these kids are our hope, and then really, I think, really, how do we say? People are mocking about it, but I think we should support them, and this kind of event make us more aware about how many people need to die to make us decide to, go forward to start to change the world. So yes, thank you, Luisa, to bring this out, and thanks everyone. I mean, this is so big. So now, well, just before we jump into the Libra ingress chart, I will hand this to Anna, because I mean, we recently in Africa, there's how many countries in coup now? How many countries coup they've been taking away, and they've really built a wall, lines up in the Africa country. But when we're talking about coup, Anna just mentioned about this year is the 50-year anniversary of the coup in Chile. So, and she has something to share with us. So, Anna, it's your time. Thank you.
We go to the past. Let me know if you see it. Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So we traveled 50 years back, in which at that time, most countries of South America were in military government. So, but we will focus in this particular event. 50 years has passed. I remember those news about the coup. But it's incredible that it has passed 50 years. Well, here we go. This is the chart of Chile. This is the one that I used, and you can see here in the ascendant I have the Neptune and Saturn, which as if is describing the shape of Chile close to the ocean. No? So it's Neptune and Saturn, Neptune and Saturn. And we can see here that Mars is in the 10th house. I won't go deeper with all the chart, but I just want to highlight certain things. Then we have the Aries ingress at that time, at the 73. This is the Aries ingress chart. We can see that the midheaven is the ascendant of Salvador Allende, the president at that time. And the ascendant of this chart is the Pluto of Augusto Pinochet, who was the upcoming leader. And we can see here that the Sun is in opposition with Pluto, and Pluto squares very, very tight to the ascendant-descendant. If we can see here, it was a matter of time in which Saturn will move and will encounter, will find the South Node, and if you wish, you can add the Lilith, will go and will meet the North Node. It was a matter of time. Okay, so here we go with a comparison of the Aries ingress chart in the natal chart of Chile. We can see there was a Neptune return. This Neptune return occurred during the year, and there was the moon with Uranus, which announces something, a movement, and in conjunction with Mercury. And other factors, this such Saturn squaring Pluto, and other factors. We have here the solar eclipse previous to that event. The solar eclipse was held in 8 of Cancer, which squared the nodes of the country. And if you want to add, Pluto was close to one node and Saturn was close to very tight orb with the South Node. For me, the 5th house, among the typical meanings of in mundane astrology, it reminds me of the crisis of the government, or the death of the government, because the 5th house for me is the 8th counting from the 10th. So if something is going on in the 5th house, I may add the opinion that something could threaten the continuity of the government. Okay, so here this eclipse provokes a square, accompanied by Pluto and Mars, and in the ascendant, the contact of Neptune with Neptune. This is the event, the September 11 of that year, where this occurred. This chart is casted for the 7:30, in which the President Allende arrived to the Palacio de la Moneda. The Palacio de la Moneda is the government house. Moneda means coin in English. Okay, so he arrived and he knew there was some movement going on because there were a lot of events previous to that date. So he knew that something was happening. So if we cast the chart, we can see here that Saturn is with the South Node in the midheaven. In the 4th house, Lilith and North Node, and in the ascendant was Pluto. So it was created attention, and Mars very close to the, well, in the 8th house. So it is like the agenda for that day will be a complicated one. What the following events happened at 9 a.m. Allende sent a message to the population, just announcing that the Chileans have to keep going, etc., that he won't resign. Many other things happens, and when it was 11:50, close to noon, there was the attack of the Palacio de la Moneda. And after 1 p.m., I don't know the hour exactly, Allende committed suicide. And you can hear the videos in this link. I added some links, information if you want to read, have further information. There was Operación Silencio, an operation in one of the pilots that attacked the radio station was Mario López Tobar, whose nom de guerre was Libra. And we can see the ascendant Libra, Pluto Libra, Uranus in Libra. It was very, very interesting curious, it's coincidence. No? And we can see here that in the Aries ingress chart, once the Saturn advanced and encountered the South Node and Lilith encountered the North Node, happened in the axis ascendant-descendant in this date. It is like the Aries ingress chart would explode, and it literally exploded, and it happened in that day. In that day, the Great Square was created. No? And when I see the event in the natal chart of Chile, we can see that Pluto is close to the North Node, creating another square with the nodes. It means that the transiting nodes square the natal nodes, complicated time. This Venus and Uranus were with 6-degree orb with Mercury, when we're talking about the radio station, etc. And Neptune, again, Neptune was important because the event of that day happened in the ocean. It means that the Navy captured Valparaiso, which is a coastal city, strategically stationing ships and marine infantry in the central coast and closed radio and television networks. It means that the operation started in the ocean and advanced to the city, to Santiago. So it is like maybe the Neptune return that is not so widely studied was accompanied by the factors, other factors such the square of the Saturn in detriment with the North Node, squaring in Pluto. And this is the chart of Salvador Allende. By the way, Salvador means savior, and savior is related to Neptune or this Piscean attitude, no? The savior of something. The president Salvador Allende was socialist, he was the left wing, Marxist, again Neptune concepts. Well, during that day when he committed suicide, Saturn and the North Node was close to his sun. Uranus was squaring Mars, who was the ruler of the 8th house, no? And Neptune with vertex, and among other factors. And well, he ended his life, and the following leader was Pinochet, whose transiting Saturn was in his Pluto, Neptune with Sun, and well, Jupiter with the vertex. And he started a new chapter in the Chilean history for 17 years, number which is related to the nodal return. No? We observed that the nodal return were involved in the transiting, and we see that the number again is repeated. So it started a new story in Chile with Pinochet. So here we go. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Anna. Always when Anna gives talk, it's just like full of knowledge. And you can see the fascinating about astrology, simple speaking. It's about, especially when you point out that Salvador means savior, and with the Neptune theme so strong in his chart, and with the moment when he suicide, and that is that event, but that is full of symbolic speaking. I just wondering one thing, because we notice how we related to things with now. I just wondering about that in the chart during the 73. I think it was a similar moment around that time, or I mean what happening in Africa now. The several countries go coups from last year. That in the chart you show in 73, there is the set of aspects between the Neptune sextile Pluto. And
okay.
if we run the quick little bit of software to find out, we will notice that set of aspects, the Neptune sextile Pluto, was beginning end of around the 1960s. And then it stopped. It lasts maybe 20 years until something like the 1990s, then stopped.
Yeah.
And then happened again something like 2020.
We the sextile was exact in the 50s, then in the 70s, it's going to be exact now for the next few years, and then it's going to finally move away from the sextile and form a trine in a few years' time, a good few years. And I'm going to be doing a talk on this in I think December with Wendy and Roy Gillett. We're going to be talking about the Neptune-Pluto sextile, the cycle.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because this is going to be the final exactment of the sextile.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting, really interesting.
I was wondering, because that time in the, I think in several countries in the Africa, that's the time they get independent, and also I think when you just mentioned about the coup in the Chile, and I think the country around it also have a little bit unstable that time. So I don't know, well, I couldn't stop to thinking about those coup in the Africa country are related to this set of aspects. Yeah. Okay. Any comment or thanks, Anna? Always, Anna is amazing. So well.
It surprised me the most that the name of girl of the aviator was Libra. When I read that, I said, no, this is not coincidence. It's like the sky brights with footnotes as well. No, it is not only the text, but footnotes in the little details. This is the taste of this beautiful art that is astrology.
Yeah. You're a poet. You are a poet.
Yeah, I'm Neptunian. Yeah, I'm being Neptunian. No, because I enjoy doing this presentation. Of course, I enjoy giving presentations, but it's like in the minor details, which I feel the taste is like the salt of the food is just little and enjoy. Because if it's in excess, it's complicated, and if nothing happens, it is not enough. It is like just a little piece of something and I get impressed that the pilot, the name of there was Libra. In the middle of that war, Libra was there, and Pluto in Libra, Uranus in Libra.
And
so
Anna, you said in Portuguese here in Brazil, maybe another country, Libra means is the name of British currency. Pound is Libra.
Yeah.
And
Libra.
you said the beauty was moneda. You see, so Libra is also connected to money.
Yeah, moneda, Libra. Everything is perfectly written. It is like I might have dig a little bit.
It's so interesting, full of symbolic, and this is
symbolic.
Including the name of Allende. Including the name of Allende. No, it's not so common to call Salvador Neptunian name. Socialist Neptunian system. The ocean Neptunian and the return of Neptune is there. That day Neptune did whatever he wanted, but sometimes we focus on Saturn, Pluto, but Neptune plays its own game in its way. I think that Neptune, I respect Neptune. Neptune has given some pleasant and unpleasant surprises. But I say, Neptune, you're wise.
I think we are going to be talking here in the future about Neptune because it's going to cross the equinox, the zero areas, the world point. So I think Neptune has a message for the world.
Definitely.
Look, I think so.
We will discover.
Thank you, Anna. And before we finish, I think thank you. Before finish today, I really want to address a little bit about the Aries English. At least we talk about the major aspect in the chart, and I think Grace has something to mention about also in compare with Beijing. And also, I would say if everyone have free time on the Thursday morning, please join us. Okay, Brando, are you coming? Because it was 3 o'clock in the morning in Brazil. Anyway, so let me, you know what, because I have difficult to choose the place to display the Aries Libra English chart, because I mean, Luisa already showed in Strasbourg, so that's European view already has a little bit of thing checked. So, and I was like, maybe put in Washington DC, but it's fascinating, but I get bored, and so you know what, I decided to put it in Argentina. So at least Maria can have a waking up moment. So let me show you the chart, and later let us just talk about the major aspect. You know what? It's very interesting. I put it in Buenos Aires, and I mean the house system is varied for depending on astrologer. Okay, but let me just remind you one thing. Let me just remind everyone one thing. If we move to Washington, D.C., that Uranus and Pluto is right on angle. If you move this chart to Washington, D.C., that Uranus is right on ascendant and the Pluto is right on the MC. So you just like, potato now. Yeah, okay. So I think we have a, oh no, sorry. I put the old chart, right?
Yeah, there's a lot here.
I'm really embarrassed now.
Neptune working.
Oh, this is the same thing. So I was like, why I'm doing that? Okay, let me regenerate the chart again. Sorry about that.
It's that Mercury stationing.
I know. Let me go to I'm going to rising, yes. And here we are. Okay, finally. Phew. Oh my God. Here we are. Oh, again, on the angle. We got to Pluto on the angle. And the Jupiter and the Uranus on the angle. So this is the 23rd of September 2023. And I mean, also we use the Buenos Aires, but we can just focus on those, we have I think, what is the major aspect? I mean,
well, can I say something? Right
yes,
now in Argentina, we're having 120% of inflation, 120% per year. That's almost more than 10% every month. And look at all the planets in the second for Buenos Aires. So that makes a lot of sense. And also the government is desperate for money and is relying on money from other countries. But you can see with that Pluto in the cusp of the 7th, that's going to come at a very, very high price. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say about this. This is just 1 month before the presidential elections, and they don't know what to do with the inflation rate. They're desperate. They can't control the inflation rate. So you can see all those planets in the second. That's interesting.
Because I would like to add, yes, this sun in the second house is also the Antisha with 4 degrees of difference with Neptune. It is not only that this sun is in opposition with Neptune, but it's also in Antisha with Neptune. And you're talking about inflation. No, it is like it's somehow unstoppable or just a riddle how to manage that.
But it's the Sun's sesqui quadrat Jupiter as well. That's the one aspect that I find fascinating, and that's inflation as well. But the sesqui quadrat, it's always some physical manifestation. It's very, very action orientated, and Sun, Jupiter, Sun opposite Neptune, that Pluto, yeah. Everything's inflated, isn't it? Everything.
Yes. I think this would be the moment we're going to know how much the energy price we're going to pay again before the next winter, right? So we start that Sun opposite Neptune, and then and I mentioned about it's also in the Antisha, so that would be pushing the price up again. Oh, please don't do it again. That would be really worrying. But I just if we look at this chart, because Maria mentioned about the inflation situation. In the beginning, I would say, well, look at that sweet Mercury in Virgo. Maybe they can take it in control. And I suddenly realized, Mercury is also in exaltation. Exaltation is a high. It's the highest position. It's an exaltation. So it keeps rising. I hope not going to happen, but I really hope things are not end up like that.
Yeah, I think that if you look at that Mercury, it's about to trine Jupiter, and Jupiter is one of the rulers of the 8th. So I think that they will get money from other countries, So the economy will be more or less exported, but just for a little while. What's interesting also is for the presidential elections in October, there are 3 candidates, and one of them is a woman. And she doesn't look too good in the polls right now. But if you look at that Venus in the first house, maybe, who knows, maybe she could become the next president. She might, I don't know, just a thought.
Because the ruler is the ruler of the midheaven, Yeah, and it's the ruler of the midheaven, this Venus, and the ascendant is in Cancer, which leads to think a woman, because the ruler of Cancer is the moon. Maybe it won't be popular, but I think maybe she could be the indicated.
Yeah.
At least for this purpose.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yes. Well, yeah. Look at this. So the election is going to happen after Libra ingress.
Yes, a week after the eclipse, and the eclipse of October the 14th takes place on the ascendant of the country. So that's going to be interesting.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear, we start ascendant on the eclipse on the ascendant of the country. Well,
yeah. But you can see in what poor state the country is, because the ruler of the ascendant is the moon in its detriment in the 6th house. So, I mean, this chart is telling. I mean, it tells about the condition of the country. It's in a desperate situation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also even Louisa has just briefly talking about the stressful situation, but I really want to go back to look at the situation in Europe. So I will show back to, I will use Louisa's chart again. I will use that chart again, and I'm just trying to find it where it is. Well, I mean, give a second. I just like, where is that chart? Here we are. Sorry about that. Yeah, ingress chart. Here we are. Yeah, because we can see if we apply that in the older European country, that would be pretty interesting.
It's in the middle, so Strasbourg is between France and Germany.
Yeah. So what we can expect is the Mars of the Chiron. So, I mean, that would be something. Fight for justice, fight for equal rights. Fight for arguing about the justice and whatever. I mean that is because I don't usually enjoy Mars Chiron aspect. Well, thank God. I mean, in Europe, we most of the country have a gun control. If this in the United States, if this chart happened in the United States, I would dare to predict. I don't usually predict. I would dare to predict a huge, massive gunshot going to happen there, because that's usually what happens.
Yeah, well, we've had with all between the floods, the fires. There's been a lot of suffering.
True. Yes.
So you couldn't interpret Chiron in that way, and more suffering ahead unless something is done, and that's Mars with the South Node. Yeah, that's how I would interpret that.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because coordinated with what you mentioned about those young people, those kids bring the government to court, and we have this Mars in the first house also. Mars in the first house as the people, probably people are angry too. People want to, at least people will say something, and then with this series in the first house, we more care about the food price. Are we? We're probably going to really focus on the food price with that moon in Capricorn in detriment. I think everyone, all of us, will going to think about, especially we know that India just started to ban the rice export.
Wow.
And I mean, a lot of countries rely on the rice. That is worth to concern about, worth us to think about it. Yeah, but this angle, Mars on the angle wouldn't be. We all know that Russia and Ukraine, that situation maybe could have impact in Europe too.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly. I mean, as Leanne has pointed out several times, and we have talked about this Pluto in the last degrees of Capricorn is going to be a game changer. in many aspects. Yeah. So it shows up again and again in all these charts.
Yeah, definitely. So this is what can we expect in Europe. Wow. Yeah. Any comment before I jump into another side of the world? Yeah. Okay.
No.
Well,
jump in.
Jump. We're going to talk about the China on Thursday, but while Grace is here, we have the first-hand news about the China. So, Grace, could you tell us a little bit about what is concerned related to China? And I need to, while you, I have to move the chart because you notice I make a mistake about the chart. I put it in 2022. Okay. Okay, here I'm going to share the chart about China for the Libra in Greece. How's China at this moment, Grace?
I'm thinking about in this moment, the economy is very difficult, and the big challenge also for the big challenge for China also. For example, like the debt crisis and the land resource. I think.
Do you
also,
think? Sorry. Do you think, because we know that house crisis, especially because just give everyone a background, for last 10 years. The property market are the major dynamic to boost up Chinese economy. So everything is related. That was why when end of last year, when the big company called Evergrande was collapsed and then filed bankruptcy, and there was such a big news, and they finally really they just showed they couldn't save it. They still try very hard. So, but also Chinese government at this moment trying to help them, right? Trying to say we are pushing more people to try to promote the house price, try to promote their house, to say everyone you should come to buy the house to save this company. Is that going to happen, Grace?
But yes, this this happened, but still, I think because of the Pluto. Okay, basis the chart Pluto and with Pluto with Uranus with Sun. So I think the government cannot doing something or they cannot hide. So everything come out in this moment. Every crisis coming out. It's coming out.
Okay.
So it's not like before they can hide. The government can hide it.
Okay. So they have to face it.
They have to face it. But they cannot do anything about it. And the people, don't trust the animal.
Don't trust them anymore. But I mean, one thing. Well, Grace, if you. Yeah.
I mean, from this chart we can see the Sun in 8th house. Where is it?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Sun in 8th house, yes.
8th house, and with Pluto with Uranus, actually they are making trends.
Try, yes.
And in Pluto in 1st house, Uranus in 4th house. So the 4th house is more like a houses, land resource.
Okay. Yes. They look like
Okay, please.
So I'm really sorry to cut Grace down. Grace hardly speak, but I guess with that Jupiter going to conjunct going to conjunct Uranus around this degree by next year. I hope it depends on what house of this conjunction falling in China's country chart. It would be very interesting to see it, because this could, if this is happening, this could just push a little bit forward about the economic situation.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me put a chart together. Let me put the two charts together. If I have a Chinese PRC chart, and I have put the Libra English chart. Okay, here we are. So they are in, well, not really close, but they are in third house. Not
Third
really.
house, yes.
Yeah, they are in third house. Well.
Oh.
Well, interesting. We can see that Mercury is on the Saturn, and then Venus is on the Mars and the Pluto. Oh la la! I will hope they solve.
Well, what I think is that we'll have many things to discuss.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God, this chart is pretty interesting. I really hope, because usually when China speaks out, they are very direct. They're bang like that. I hope this one would be considered a little bit more test the marketing and the PR skill. I hope this time they will do that.
Well, what I think that is interesting in the ingress chart is that we have a lot of nice blue aspects, trines and sextile with the big guys, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune. And the sun is some people call the kite figure, and some people call the diamond.
But so remember the slow-moving planets are all retrograde. All of them. Not one escapes the retrogradation. Huh?
So like the sun is in the chariot pulling all the horses.
The horses are not. Yeah, that's a good image. But the horses are tight. When we start moving forward, we might see something. Okay, I think Anna can do a poem about this.
Please read it for us.
Short.
True. But you see that in the last ingress, we saw the Sun and Pluto in King Kongs, say it's not going to be easy for the leaders. Leadership in the world, and Saturn was in King Kongs with the Moon, so it's not going to be easy for the people as well. And here we have now Saturn and the Sun in King Kongs, so still a lot of a lot of pressure on leadership and leaders, and they are not the strongest because the Sun is not very powerful, like. In the way the Libra, it does not help to express this potential, the sunny potential anyways. But what worries me still is that we talked about somewhere in the past year, this year, about the economics, like Jupiter and Uranus giving this impression of prosperity, and square Venus. So whenever people think there is a little bit of money in their pocket, they rush to, for the money therapy. I call money therapy because when you feel bored, when you feel, and you go to the shopping mall or whatever, a restaurant, and you spend the money, and then the 8th house is credit card. So we see Mercury in the sun here, So
when you mentioned about credit card, it just remind me one thing, Grace. How's the debt situation in China? Those debt about China. What do you think? Would they? Because during the, in one way, there is China is like still on debt, but in another way, the policy of the diplomat policy with the 一带一路, with the new Silk Road policy, they're trying to spend a lot of money in the whole country.
Yes, they are. Actually, they gave a lot of money, I mean, for 一带一路.
Support this new Silk Road.
They have already gave a lot of money, but I mean, the people, a lot of money out, but for the people, for the Chinese people, the government didn't do anything for the people, for the country.
You can see that very interesting.
You can see this. So in this moment, they have a lot of debt crisis. I mean.
Oh, okay. They have a doctor crisis.
Yeah, and Neptune with the sun. Neptune, again, economy, again, about the money, financial.
Yeah, interesting when you mentioned about that, because I think that debt or those that loan to the other country with 8th house ruler Mercury in the Virgo should be their weapon. They are up and down it, but in another way, the country itself, the country's financial situation itself, with the Saturn in Pisces on the cusp, it's not funny. It's not funny. So yes, and
can I say something again?
Yes, please.
Okay. So because of the same with Pluto,
yes,
I'm thinking about maybe also the sun is head of the country. And the how to say it's security, public security, or the head of country safety about this maybe. And also in the other hand, maybe they try to build up a new rule for the world. They think because the triumph.
I think I agree. We're definitely going to see it because China's probably going to use all the resource they have, include the economic power, to create what they expecting. They kind of probably going to challenge the leading the United States leader, the world, order. They're trying to create a new order, maybe,
new
or something.
New order, maybe.
New order, or kind of who is the big boss? Maybe not you anymore. So I don't know. It's not this season, but it's definitely they're definitely going to try. They're definitely not going to give away. I think you can see Kim Jong-un going to meet Putin, and everyone was like, oh my God.
Of course, we are talking about everything basic on the chart, astrology chart, so not. We are not talking about something else.
Okay, then we have to talk about that. Yes. Okay, so thanks everyone today, because I mean we have a little time to talk about the ingress chart, and don't forget, if you're watching us, next Thursday we will have a discussion about Australia and China on the Thursday morning, 10 a.m. UK time, and everyone are welcome to join us. And also, next month I will hope to see everyone, and we can talk about maybe eclipse. That would be quite interesting. Okay, thanks everyone to join us today. See you next time. Bye bye.
Gracias. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.